for staying with us on our television. Welcome to Issues of the Moment. My name is Sunday Ayami. Today I have an expert in security business in Nigeria here who will tell us somehow into details, will take us into details of the security architecture of Nigeria today and how the security services are also working to make Nigeria safe. I have Isiaka Mustafa. He's a journalist and is also the editor-in-chief, People's Security Monitor, as well as Press Gallery newspapers. Isiaka, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
I have somebody who is going to help me do this job this morning, an in-house analyst, Mr. Kule Awoniyi. Yeah, Isiaka Mustafa, let me start by asking you, is Nigeria safe today?
Well, if you had asked me this question before the advent of the present administration, my answer would have been, totally no. But please do permit me to say that since the inception of this administration, we seem to be having a sort of relief, and considering the efforts of the present administration, we can safely and comfortably say that the issue of insecurity is gradually being reduced. So, to some extent, security-wise, things are taking shape. We can only hope for, a better security situation than what it used to be in the past.
But every day we hear killings there, and people are not safe, especially in the northeast, northwest. It's not safe at all. It's not a safe haven for anybody. Some people have even restricted their movement to those areas, just as the southeast too.
Let me emphasize that the issue of insecurity is a global phenomenon and is not restricted to Nigeria. Only that the way it unfolds here might be, quite different from what is obtainable in other climes. But as far as insecurity issue is concerned, we have it globally, and it's been experienced on a daily basis all over the globe. Again, I need to also emphasize that it's not as horrible as is being painted, and that is the truth of the matter. Last year, I had the privilege of traveling around this country, and I saw things, personally, in quite a lot of states in the country. Things are not as horrible as is being painted. Quite all right, we have our problems, especially from the northern axis of the country, and that is
and also the southeast.
Southeast, yes, of course. So we have, some trouble spots in the southeast, but not in the entire southeast. For instance, last year I had a cause to pass through, Enugu State on a Monday morning, and I must let you know that there was no incident whatsoever. It was, peaceful atmosphere. I saw a lot of people opening their businesses, transacting their businesses, and the atmosphere was such a calm one. That is the Monday, sit at home on Mondays. And apart from that, I also passed through Owerri, I passed through Enugu, I was in Port Harcourt, I was in Uyo, I was in Umuahia, Abia State now, and it was, relatively calm. There was no incidents at all. But again, like I said before, that does not remove the fact that there are some trouble spots in the southeast, and we must give kudos to the present administration. They are putting all they could to make sure that they have the understanding of the people, especially the aggrieved ones. Yeah, Um, it's not a new thing to have grievances or to press home your point. But again, you still need to meet, round the table,
Recall
discuss.
just yesterday, about
Yeah.
60 people were attacked and killed in Borno State.
Yes, let me say the issue, insecurity issue in the northern axis of Nigeria. Principally, the question we should ask ourselves is, what sort of borders do we have? Who do we have enough personnel, taking charge at our borders? But the first question is, we should all take it as a reality that what we call borders in the northern axis and in other parts of Nigeria are just, opening entrance for anybody to come in.
They are so
and go out.
porous.
They are so porous. And I want to tell you again, as a matter of fact, that if this money, I doubt if the federal government could tell you the number of routes that,
Link
link
into,
Nigeria
in
with
and
our,
out.
yes. And one thing again is that, for instance, in Niger, we have the neighboring states in Niger. Virtually all the families in the neighboring state, they have their root,
In and out
in Niger. They will tell you for free that, oh, next tomorrow I'm going to see grandfather in Niamey. It's been long since I saw him and the rest of it. So, to them, all these things are just artificial borders.
Yes.
But again, we are in modern times.
It's just geographical border.
Yeah, description. But again, the other day I was in Castina. This our former president's place in Niger.
Yes. Maradi.
Maradi, and I looked up. I saw 20 kilometers to Maradi, and I said, okay, I can understand now why our former president is so passionate about Maradi and Niger.
Yes.
So, to them, it's just artificial description. Nothing has really changed. But again, we are in a modern period whereby everything must be described to precision. That does not stop us from having our border.
Let me bring Kunle in here now. I don't know if you seem to agree with the perfectness as Mustafa has painted now, perfectness in terms of security or near perfectness.
Well, the security expert has spoken. Give it to the present administration. The level of insecurity compared to how it has been is getting reduced. Just like you said, we don't expect 100% reduction right away. They are less than 2 years in office. Let's see what happened before. Normally they tell you when politicians are in office, the first 2 years is when they work. The other 2 years
It's
campaign
campaign
for
for
another.
another
But
term.
give it to the present administration. Yes, you can't do without seeing some form of killing or harassment one way or the other. It's still on. But compared to what has been before, I think the present administration, they are trying their best. So let's just see what they can bring in before.
You see, but one thing is that, security is one of their campaign issues. While they were campaigning, I would make sure Nigeria is secured. The governors will say, I will make sure my state is secured. And they come in, they are now begging to people to now be calm, we will take control, we will take charge. For how long will Nigerians be calm and wait for you to take charge?
Don't forget that when during campaign, I can come out and say A, B, C, D.
So they are just deceiving people.
I didn't say they are deceiving people. When you get to the seat of power, there are things that you have not seen, you heard. But when you get to the seat of power, mind you, me and you are seated here now. I've already explained what I want to do. But do I know your mindset towards what I intend to do? There is no way you still find one or two people that are not on the same page. This insecurity we're talking about, some people are making gains out of this insecurity.
That is it.
And there are people who want this thing to stop. So you work. That is the essence of having a leader that is capable. If you are in charge as a leader, you know this the direction I'm going. Some people want you to go the other way, but you stand focused. As time goes on, we will see what you can bring to the table. But you can't do, they say out of every 12, There will always be a Judas.
Yeah.
But what role are you playing with or against the Judas? That's the most important thing.
You see, because now we have so many levels of security arrangement in Nigeria. So also do we have security organization. We have civil defense, we have police, air force, army, navy, and all those people. And most of us, are they working in synergy towards making sure that this security situation in Nigeria becomes a thing of the past?
Yeah, that's another interesting question. And again, just like I said earlier, that until about 1.5 years ago, the issue of harmonization within the security sector was not really encouraging. You have a lot of, unorganized decisions being taken, unorganized actions being taken. Some, have had to lead to casualties, collateral damages, and the rest. But when this administration came, the military under the leadership of General Christopher Musa has been able, to stabilize things and to ensure that all the arms of the military, worked in synergy so as to put in place proper utilization of resources, proper utilization of materials, and the rest. That brings us to the issue of the entire country now, until we face the reality that security is a collective business of all of us. For instance, in Nigeria today, we are well over 250 million people.
Who counted them?
That's what we hear now. And it will shock you that we still could not make up to 300,000 policemen, among whom, of course, you have the personnel department, others are keeping vigilant in VIP zones, and the rest. The way it works in other climes is that the moment I'm conscious of the security of my environment is a huge relief to the uniformed people, because again, we should not forget that intelligence is crucial in everything. Yeah. We don't have a battalion of soldiers here keeping a vigil here because they want to arrest a suspect or whatever. But the valuable information should be able to spring up from this place and pass it to the necessary security agencies. Until that time, when we see security as a collective responsibility, your DPO is not a magician. Your commandant NSCDC is not a magician either. They lean on intelligence report, and it's cheaper, because if you are having the information at first hand, things can easily be rectified before disaster disaster takes place. So it's easier for us. Let's build on our intelligence capacity, and there is need for us to also work in synergy with all the security agencies. Don't see them as being in uniform, the job belongs to them. No. It's our collective responsibility to really fix this country security wise.
Now, let me ask you this very, very pertinent question. It has been on the front burner over some time now, community policing and state police. Now, will that help to solve the situation in Nigeria?
It will go a long way, because by its description, when you say community policing, it's as good as having the populace involved in the security of their jurisdiction. It's not left in the hands of the DPO, who perhaps is a police post is several miles away from. But in every community, you have people who keep vigil. You have people who supply you the information of new entrants. You have people who supply you with the information of those going out. In the United Kingdom, for instance, that has been the trend. You have a lot of retirees who keep vigil over their jurisdiction, And the moment they see any unusual thing, they get across to the appropriate authority. Because the DPO, your DPO cannot be everywhere. So it will have been a best thing for Nigeria. I think the present administration, there was a time the idea was mooted that okay, let's see community policing or state-owned, police force. But again, the issue of police.
The popular belief in Nigeria is that if you create state police, the governors will hijack.
No, there's still a way it can be perfected, in a way that the total control, even now, let's face the reality, with the federal police we have, any commissioner of police in any state, his allegiance first is to the man who is called the governor, whom they call literally chief security officer of the state. The relationship of the governor and the CP usually is always a cordial one, because the governor needs the CP, and you can hardly see any police commissioner who works against the interest of his governor, except there is a special order from Abuja or from the villa. Outside that, they are just partners in progress. If any governor so desires today that, please go and pick Mr. John for me, within minutes that Mr. John will be brought in. So it's not as if the governor, don't have their influence on states, on the police. They do. But the fear is that if you now concede the totality of power to them, they may, abuse it politically. But again, we can still draft.
In that case, have they not compromised the security of policing the people or policing the community to now being like a puppet to the governor?
There are two ways to it. You cannot undermine the mega influence of a state governor, whether you like it or not. He has his foot soldiers. He has his political followers. And every information...
The governor belongs to one political party.
Yes.
What happens to the other political parties?
No, what I'm saying...
Using the police to work against them.
No, what I'm saying is that there are two ways to it. You can use the state... You can use the police to work against me.
Your
you can... No, not opponent now. I'm talking about the generality of the people now.
Okay.
The governor of the state. You can use the police to work against me. You can also use it to offer me protection. It depends how it swings. You get it now. But the reality of the matter as we speak today is that the moment a police commissioner gets to his new assignment, the first, not only the police commissioner, all the service chiefs within that state, the first place you go to report yourself is the governor's office. And behind the scene, you meet with your governor. What are the challenges? Because before you get to know, the governor may even know better than you, the CP. He knows the crooks in town. He knows the well-behaved people in town. He knows the troublemakers in town. Everything. He knows the political talks in town. So the governor's influence cannot be underrated. You still need the governor, even if you want to carry out your work legitimately, because his influence is a mega one. But then he's like an emperor in his state, and it's still like that till tomorrow. You get my point now. So that is the way it is. You need, each other's cooperation to work as CP, to work as commandant of the NSCDC, to work as immigration commandant, to even work as FRSC person. You get it now. You cannot totally insulate governor from the security of a state, but there could still be a very healthy legislation, to define the relationship between the state governor and the state-owned police, the head of state-owned police.
Kule, do you align yourself with this submission?
In fact, I've been trying to chip in something. When we look at security, we are looking at the insecurity in the country and what could be a solution. That's where the issue of state policing comes in. I want to believe, if we actually want to put things in the right perspective, before we even talk about the CP operating as in state level, if we really want to treat the issue of insecurity, let's start from the grassroots. Sometimes ago, I want to borrow from what one of the security experts, Mr. Chief Jumbo is the best man, said something. He said, the boys you see on the streets, the area boys, the ones that look like maybe thugs on the streets, they have roles to play and they have a way of capturing this one. If something is happening in a community, if it happens in this jurisdiction, you know whom to talk to.
Those are the people that you
These are the people, and that is the more reason. I'm not speaking for this vigilante group. They are still very, very much essential, because when you pick people from the community, the vigilante people that has been picked from the, have you not seen situation whereby when someone is being caught in a community, the vigilantes will be the one that will hand the person over to the police before police take a next step. So there is no way you can do away with the grassroots. Some of these boys, we are not encouraging criminality, but some of these boys you see on the street, they have role, they have links. Before the DPO in that station will come to a community, something happened in a community early before December. By the time they want to get information, they come to pick these boys on street, especially some that will say, you know, all this issue of a wall where they are building that they will be going around. They come to pick these boys. These boys were able to give information to the police. I understand the police went beyond that community, went as far as Karimu, went as far as Baraba to pick all these people. And throughout the festive period, there was peace in the community. So there is no way, if we want to tackle the issue of insecurity, before we even get to among these people at the grassroots, they might be from amongst them. You can pick people to join the state policing before we now talk of the federal. Because if they look, check, let me cite this as an example again. Have you been to some area council? You see how some of these boys, they have access to council chairman. The council chairman at times we even relate with them. And you see some of them dressed like maybe hooligans or whatever, but because they know if something happens,
these are the people they use for election.
So if a local government can maintain peace, they can manage them that way, it will not give the governor of a state peace, and it will reflect at the federal. So I think the issue of security from the grassroots is the most important thing first. We now bring it up.
No, Mustafa, let us look at, see, take Nigeria as a country now. And there are some places where you have some amount of peace, some places you have pocket of security here. How do you think the security agencies can harmonize, come together and make sure they get feedback right from the community, instead of when they hear, they go and pick people indiscriminately?
You see, again, much as we want to appreciate the community policing, application of talks or miscreant to supply us information, we should also be very careful in that process, because for all you care to know, is an open process that can easily be abused. Wrong person could be pointed at.
That is it.
Wrong information could be given. So to a very large extent, we still need professionalism to come into the issue of security. Much as we appreciate the information they may want to supply or want to show us who are the thugs within the town, we should also exercise caution that can be, mischievously done. Let me tell you that, you see this vigilante group Kule has just mentioned. Did you know that we have quite a lot of governors, especially in the northern aspects of Nigeria, who, give them, some stipends, every month just to encourage them. And do you also know, because of our low level of personnel, they engage them, to keep security in some places. They are there like policemen.
Yeah.
They are there like security guards,
agents.
And they also accompany goods. Maybe you are taking goods from here now to Lagos. They will give you 5. And to some extent too, they carry light weapons. You get it now, as approved by NSCDC. That's the approving authority now. They carry light weapons, you know, and perhaps to frighten whoever might want to. We still, when you said something like that, when you get to some states, you enjoy your peace, no issues, everybody goes about his normal, you know, businesses, normal transaction and whatever. That shows the historical background of the place you find yourself. There are some states that naturally, in spite of the high level of criminality, they don't key into getting involved in criminal activities. I am telling you this. If, for instance, in Gombe State is like Lagos of the north. You have all people from other tribes in Gombe. In fact, they form 70% of the people in Gombe. But you hardly hear any issue of, you know, insecurity, despite the fact that that state is surrounded by very turbulent states.
Exactly.
You might be asking, why? It is because they have taken a common resolute. They are taking a common decision that, look, as far as we are concerned in this state, we're not going to encourage any form of criminality. So it could also be a matter of choice. It's unlike what will happen in a state like Lagos or in a state like maybe sit at home on Monday. You get it?
Yeah.
Because inherently, they are anxious. They are happy to see things, you know, not being organized, and they take a lot of joy from it. Like Nle said, the issue of insecurity now in the country has risen to that level that it has become major businesses for some people. Some will readily accuse the military that they use it to procure armament, to raise voucher, to make money. But we should, you know, give it to our security operatives, especially the military. You know, it's easier for you to stay outside there and pass judgment and discuss issue. Let me tell you, Nigerian military, they lose men and officers on a daily basis in the course of trying to protect this country. But people will not tell you that. They will only tell you that why is it that we're still having this insecurity issue. If you are not, look at the Samfara issue. If you do not have tendency to hobnob with criminals, to provide them with, you know, adequate vital grant to operate or to live with you, the tendency is that it will be difficult for security operatives, you know, to really work, because you have given them the leverage within your locality. So anytime they are coming for such criminals, it's going to be a collateral damage. Some innocent people will have to go with them, because by your body language, you allow them to stay within your community under one pretext or the other, saying they are doing, but you know within yourself that you are harboring criminals. So when they sight them, a chunk of them, airstrike, some innocent people are caught in the fire. But you also agree with me that in a state like Lagos State, for instance, it will be extremely difficult for something like Boko Haram to thrive there. Because every individual in Lagos is sensitive to his environment. And
he's always on the go.
He is always ready. You can't go to Lagos and say you want to start feasting on Boko Haram. Where? How? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. But when you have some people under the aegis of religion, you see that they are hobnobbing with them, you see that they are telling them about things to do in Islam, or you are teaching them to fight against, definitely they are going to feast fat.
Actually, you are parting short on this before I come to you. What exactly do you think you can advise in terms of security of Nigeria?
In terms of security, like we said, we appreciate how far the present administration has been, what the steps they are taking when it comes to security, but they can still do more by allowing information. Because one of the area again I just remembered is, you see, I pray such thing had stopped. When you even know of something happening, people are scared to some extent to relate with police in the environment, because they might think the process later will be more than what you go for. If I see something, there is this saying now that know your neighbor.
Know your neighbor.
If I even suspect anything about my neighbor, how am I sure if I go there and tell them so thing, they will not bring something that will, my neighbor will definitely know I'm the one, and what is the level of my safety in the environment. So if such thing had stopped, I think these are part of the areas that will give the people in the community the confidence that if A is going wrong in my environment, I have the confidence that when I go out to speak, I will not be held or held responsible for what I don't know. That's part of the thing that
Mustafa, your partition.
You see, truth be told, virtually all the security agents in Nigeria need what you can call reorientation. Reorientation in the sense that they should see Nigeria as one entity that belongs to all of us, irrespective of tribe, irrespective of religion. We still need to let our security operatives understand that beyond whatever you're doing, ethically, you must comply with the dictates of security job. A Igbo suspect, Yoruba suspect, Hausa suspect, you give them same treatment. You don't come under the guise of it's my brother, it's my sister, it's a Muslim, it's a Christian or whatever, because that again is also playing a very devastating role in the security architecture of Nigeria, whereby you insulate religion, you insulate tribe, and you allow criminality, to thrive. So there should be reorientation of, look, you have a mandate. Nobody is stopping you from going to your church. No one is stopping you from going to your mosque. Nobody is depriving you of your tribal background. But you do have one common mandate, and the mandate is to offer security, protection to lives and properties in Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Mustafa Isiaka, Editor-in-Chief, People's Secretary. So that's how far we can go. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be with us some other time next week. Thank you.
Thank you.